Okay, let's see how many we've got here. Oh, I know what I need.
Oh, it's already done, yeah.
Oh, you got something to do with it?
Yeah, thumbtack.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that, and then, so he cleaned all that out and plastic,
Okay.
and then, demolished the steps and rebuilt it.
Oh,
and put
good.
another step on the bottom. So it's pretty much cool.
Yeah.
Now it's for house paint.
Oh, man. That's just.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and say again. I'll have to print one up for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
It's on my phone.
In fact,
I have it on my phone, but. Okay, thanks. You got two?
No, that's.
Okay.
you know what? I will ask Michelle to print some more
Yeah,
copies.
please.
I'll do that. I'll take roll call in just a second, folks. There's some folks here that showed up in person. I need to print this on paper.
What are you doing?
My signature because my stomach was kind of hurting.
Maybe you enlarged it. Pretty small print.
Hi. Okay, if I sit down on this side?
Yep. Okay, folks, let's take roll and get the show started here. Martin,
Here.
Moss,
Here.
Evans is here. Smith. Rick Nelson said he'll probably be late. Are you here, Rick? He's coaching a tennis team tonight. Maurice Hunt.
He's gonna be on his phone. He's out of town.
Okay.
So he'll be in, but he won't be on the Zoom.
Councilwoman Ratliff.
Here.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Campbell.
Here.
All right, we've got 5. That's a quorum. We can get started. Are you ready to explain where we're at here? Or you want me to? Okay. Angela's here. She's still trying to get in on the meeting. I can point out a couple of highlights while she's getting ready. We have an increased revenue over last year of a little over $600,000. I'm on page 1, front page. Line 10-435, a little over $600,000 in additional revenue. And then you go down. That's from a police contract. Net, it comes out to about $560,000 of additional revenue that we have over last year. But that all came, 592,000 of that came from a police contract. And with that police contract is also additional officers, additional cars. I mean, we make money on that Bell Ridge contract, but it's not $560,000 or $592,000. The other one was excuse me. This page is not numbered, but it's the last 2 pages showing salaries.
Yeah, 13, 14.
Well,
Numbered at the bottom,
it-
13 and 14.
13.
it is. Oh, it is. I didn't. Yeah, it is. Page 13, please.
Kind of on the side, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. We're good.
Okay.
We've budgeted for a city clerk and a city administrator, and also in there is assistant city clerk, which if we have a city administrator and a city clerk, we can eliminate that position. We don't have to fund for an assistant city clerk.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can, after salary and benefits, that's $51,000. I mean, if we have the money, I'd like to take that and spread it out among public works and courts. There's some raises that we're gonna have to hopefully get, or we're gonna lose people. I can't hear you, Walt. You gotta turn it up. Did somebody speak?
We can't
Okay.
hear you. You went silent.
Oh, let me turn my volume up then. You still can't hear me? Is anybody else having difficulty hearing me?
No.
Okay. Yolanda, are we good? Okay, thank you. Maybe turn the volume up on your device, Walter, if you can't hear me. I'm not sure anybody else is having difficulty.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do we have the Public Works Director included in here?
We do. Angela, can you tell me what line item that is?
It is on page 14, under Public Works, the second
Okay.
salary.
Yep, second salary there, $70,000. Yes. Now, Angela, I had a question on the court clerks. They've got half salaries in there. What's the reason?
Because the court clerks spend half their time on contracts, so we kind of.
Oh, you got that in another,
If you look on
okay.
Page 14.
That's what I
there's
assumed.
2, one at the bottom and one towards the top.
Well, those are the ones that, there's some $12 an hour, there's a $12 an hour salary in there that we're just not gonna keep people once they get trained at $12 an hour.
Okay.
That's the challenge we've had. They train, they leave. We've had a
So,
couple of
In the
those.
past, you've always had 4. So there's the 52,000 for the person that runs the department, and then the 34,000 for the person underneath her, and then 2 at 24,000. So you only need 1 at 24,000? Or,
Well, I'm willing to listen to the council on this. I think we can run courts with 3. I'd rather have 3 and have people that we can pay, once they're trained, pay them to be there. If we have this constant turnover, having 4 people and constantly turning over, that's not productive. Personally, I think courts could run on 3. Does anybody else want to have any buy-in on that? I think we would be better served taking that salary and boosting the salaries of the people that are here,
How many-
especially the $12 an hour
How many
employee.
employees have we had in the past?
We've had a maximum of 4 there before, but we've operated on 3 in the past before also. If 4 is a crowded office, but it allows for people to take a vacation or people to be sick. But that's my opinion. I think we can do it on 3. We for many months ran it on 2 and it worked okay. Unfortunately, the people that were able to run it on 2 are no longer here. So we're struggling again. So anybody else got any input?
So the 2 separate, where it says halftime for court clerk, halftime for court clerk, That's actually one salary, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so if it says 1240, 480, it's gonna be,
And then what are the responsibilities of each court clerk? I'm not really,
well, they process all the tickets and collect fines and disperse those fines to the appropriate
but every
municipalities.
single person does the same thing, is what you're saying?
Yes,
Oh.
with the exception of the lead court clerk will probably assist the judge during court, sit there and facilitate the court.
And she also has to do all the court reports at month end and close out and all that kind of stuff as well.
I didn't hear what she said. What she said?
Fill out end of month reports for the court, state compliance, those issues. So,
If we eliminated one of the positions and then eliminated what was the other one you said?
well, the assistant
Assistant city clerk?
we just don't need that position.
So if we eliminated those two positions and spread it out in public works, would that mean that you would, because right now this shows 1, 2, 3, 4 salary public, well, with the
But
exception.
there's four public works salaries, but there's 3 also in sanitation. There's a total of
Okay, so that's,
budgeted
okay.
for 7. We've only got 5 of those positions filled currently.
So it would be spread out over public works and sanitation?
Let me count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 5, 6. We have budgeted for 8 positions and including a public works director. And currently we only have 5 of those 8 positions filled. But anyway, the question is, what do we do with those? The money we save.
Two that
from
we would
those-
eliminate would go over.
Right, assuming we can get this thing in balance, which we're not now, but yeah, I'd rather take those salaries. The salary of an assistant city clerk, the salary of a 4th court administrator, and spread those out to the people that are here and try to do some employee retention versus training employees and watching them go somewhere else.
And then what are the positions for parks?
Those are normally part-time positions because they're only filled during the summer in the past.
Okay,
That's seasonal summer help.
Yeah, we didn't fill them this summer.
We did not.
now is that something that could be eliminated if we found public works and sanitation workers that, do you think?
I think the summer help is I
needed?
think if you schedule leaner throughout the year and then hire seasonal summer help when you've got to deal with all the mowing, I think it's practical to do that. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, because they're only here during the summer.
Oh, okay.
Full time. They're only here 3 months out the year.
Yeah, I
Why
think
why didn't we hire them this year?
I don't have an answer to that question.
Oh, okay.
Angela, can you give us the bottom line of where we're at here? I have a difficult time reading the way this is.
So it's on page 4.
Okay,
Look at page 4 and the proposed 2022 budget. Right now, you're at $105,000 deficit.
Which line item?
It's right towards the bottom, Tony.
Okay.
Like it says net change in fund balance.
Gotcha.
That one on the far right is $105,000 deficit.
Angela was suggesting that court revenue may be significantly higher because we won't be dealing with the COVID issues that we dealt with before. But I didn't want to go there. We are also going to have Emergency Relief Act funds in the tune of $935,000. We have no idea yet how we can spend that money. So we can't use it to budget, but I fully expect in 5 or 6 months, we'll be amending this budget. Depending on what we're allowed to do with those dollars. They're going to be restricted funds, so we'll be able to shift some things around. So what's our general fund balance right now?
You have like, I'm estimating about $1.3 million by the end of the year. What I
That's-
think you'll be around. And that's because you have all the money from the cell towers isolated in a separate bank account and you're not using that.
That's part of the 1.3 million. So we've got a couple $100,000, not counting that money.
Right.
And then what about the sales tax lawsuit money from what is it, internet sales, that one?
Oh, we've not passed an internet sales tax here in Normandy.
No, the lawsuit that St. Louis
I'm not
County,
familiar. Go ahead. I mean, Angela is not familiar either. So
it was a lawsuit that came across, what is this? This is, what month is this? September. So this would have happened in like February, I want to say.
right.
But
I vaguely remember it.
My understanding is that each city has to file suit.
Yeah,
That's what somebody told me.
Mayor Beckman,
yes.
Mayor Beckman, this is Councilwoman Smith. Or did we finish talking about the city court clerks? I know you were asking, could we do three
Right,
versus
yeah.
4? Did we finalize that? Can we stay right there first? So
Sure.
with that
Go ahead.
salary, how much is that? Because I'm actually on the road driving, so I can't read just the document. How much salary is that releasing? That we'll be able to spread that out with Public Works?
I believe it's 24,000. Is that correct, Angela?
With all the benefits associated with that position, it would be closer to 40,000.
Well, I mean, we got to compare apples to
Okay.
apples. I mean, we can't use 40,000 to increase salaries because those benefits, the benefits won't change, will they?
If you take
You're
out
right.
a position, you're gonna take out the whole line.
No,
Right.
they won't.
That's correct. Yeah, that would take out $40,000.
I would think that we could be able to do 3 versus 4 and be able to share that money with the Public Works to be able to give them what they need. Not all of it, but like you said, as far as trying to retain employees and hire more people.
You know, on that same note, I wasn't even realizing when we did this, that $35,000 assistant city clerk that we're not intending on funding. I don't think we are.
51,000.
That's $51,000 in savings when you count the benefits. So that's an $80,000 that we can offer some raises.
90,000.
Okay, but we're still budgeting $100,000 deficit here. So yes, that'll fund the raises that we're talking about. I've got a PA assistant at $15.50 an hour. Once she gets trained, I can't imagine we'll keep her there. So near the end of the year, I'd like to have, a carrot that I could hand out in case she gets trained and starts looking for a job somewhere else. So maybe bump her to 17 once she's doing, PA work for eight courts. She would be a person, and I'm so far very pleased with how that's worked out. But at any rate, to answer the question, yeah, that's $90,000 we can spread out and put together some raises for Public Works and for the court clerks. Now,
Let me ask you one more question before we move on. As far as Public Works, how many employees have their CDL?
2. We have 2 drivers.
Can we identify those 2 drivers that have their CDL? Do we know which ones have?
I do. Do you want to know their names, or do you want to just talk about?
Well, because I was thinking, because in the past, it's been kind of tough to get people with their CDL license.
Yeah, Roosevelt and Reggie both have their
Okay,
CDLs.
so
So if we want to identify drivers with CDLs and maybe offer them
Exactly.
a little more money.
That's where I'm going.
All right. Yeah.
That's hard to get those guys.
It is. And I will tell, well, I don't want to talk about performance, but yeah, they're deserving.
Yeah.
Anybody got an opinion on that?
I think I like that idea.
No, I agree. I
All
like
right.
that idea.
Angela, I'm going to let you take over and point out any highlights that you want to work on. We had a meeting with the chief what was the final resolution on retention on our officers at the bottom end, the patrol officers?
He said that, he was saying that you might need to offer them a little bit more entry-level salaries because there's a lot of competition across the county for that.
For those unaware, there's a real shortage of police officers everywhere. If you post for a, you might make a posting and not get people apply because there's cities that are struggling that are even paying more that pay more than us, and they're struggling recruiting also. So we'll take a look at that, taking that $90,000 savings, spreading it out. If there's room left for some higher pay in the police, we'll pass it around there too. But we're still talking about budgeting at $100,000 deficit. Do we want to do that knowing that we've got this check coming in mid-year for $935,000, or do we want to budget balanced and
I don't think that we should budget looking forward to that $1,000. I mean, once we get that, then I look at that as being extra that we can utilize whatever else comes up during that time. Let's focus on what we have at hand because that would just be a bonus. I mean,
got a
that's my opinion.
all right.
But one of the reasons you're at $100,000 deficit is because I moved the principal and interest payments on the building across the street to the general fund.
Okay.
Wait,
And that create,
can you repeat that?
Right. So the building across the street, this year, the principal and interest payments were mainly funded by this capital improvement fund. However, if you continue to do that, that is all of your capital improvement sales tax. What you can do is just, if you have a capital item, you'll have spent all your fund every year. So we talked about moving it to the general fund, but then that money really would come out of that cell tower money. I mean, you would expect that 65,000 to come out of your fund balance because it was already earned.
well, I want to address that also. We went from a cell tower, which was an income producing asset, to a loan that costs $60,000 a year in payments. And that's a heck of a switch. So I'm really strong. I don't know how we can do it. That's the way it's worked in this budget, is to make those payments out of the cell tower money. And if we take it out of capital improvement, I mean, if an air conditioner breaks down or a truck breaks down, we just won't have the money to do anything. It'll eat up the entire capital improvement budget. We can't buy anything. So it just doesn't make sense that money comes out of that. And again, once we get that infusion of cash, we can have another conversation. So it's just difficult for me to read that. You're showing $100,000 deficit.
Well, 65,000 of it is, if you look right above it, the principal and interest payments. It's a
Okay.
negative number of 65,000. So if you didn't have that, but in this budget, you'd be at a deficit of 40,000.
And now we're talking about eliminating some positions. The other thing is, and I think we have to have this conversation, what is the sanitation budget right now? How far in the red is it?
Okay, so sanitation budget is back on page 12. And right now it's at, the budget that we're proposing is at its deficit of 29,000. So this is a problem really because you had a lot of repairs this year. So we're anticipating that the sanitation fund might end up with the deficit of 141,000.
Well, that
Because
opens
there've
it.
been a lot of repairs to your trucks.
Well, I didn't realize it, folks. We've got 4 sanitation trucks, 4 garbage trucks. One of them's running right now. We've got 2 that haven't run. I didn't even know we owned them till recently.
Yeah.
We've got 4 trucks right now that we own, and 1 runs.
No, we had 2.
Well, I did too. But I did a little tour of Public Works, and we've got 7 or 9 snow plows.
Have we done inventory?
Well, I have not.
Okay.
I asked for that. It just hasn't happened.
There were 2 trucks sitting on that lot that weren't running and weren't being used, and we had them fixed. That's how we ended up with 4.
Yeah, well, right now, 3 of them are not working. One needs, my understanding, one needs brakes all the way around. One is trashed. It's the dump bed on it is got rotten and rusted out. We've got one at Gold Star, which since we're in such a deficit, I didn't want to get it repaired without talking to the council first, because we're already in the red. And they're sending me an estimate on that, but if the council, if it's your pleasure, I'll throw another couple grand at that truck to get it up and running. But what I have done is contacted Waste Management. I've contacted Waste Connections. They're both sending me sample RFPs. I think it's really in our interest. We've got 1,890 homes that we service. That's a small number to run a sanitation department. I think we really need to consider just bidding this out and saving those dollars. They can do it for the residents cheaper than we're doing it now. We could keep our limb chipping service, our leaf back service, for less money than the residents are paying now. They can have pick up once a week, recycle once a week, and heavy item pickup once a week. And the heavy item pickup is going to be one item that won't fit. It's going to be a couch or a chair, but they can do it every week. And I just really think that that's going to be the smart move to make. It's going to cost, it's tens of thousands of dollars to get the sanitation department equipment back in shape. And it's money we just don't have. So.
Now what about yard waste? Is yard waste?
We could also put that in the bid process. We could manage yard waste ourselves. Now they'll do it, but everything they do is going to cost money. But if it's something you want to take off our plate, that's fine. I wouldn't think we'd want to do that right now. We've got a leaf back, we've got a limb chipper, we've got a crew. But if we take sanitation off their table or take it off their plate, we won't have to hire more people. We'll use the crew we got and let them focus on getting our city back in shape.
I say we take a look at those bids, those RFPs.
Okay, there's 2 of those 2 companies I mentioned are mailing me samples. One I've already received. I'll build an RFP from the samples they send and we'll send it out. But it really needs to a little input on your guys' part, what we want to include in that. We could have one service do everything. The gentleman from Waste Management suggested that we separate the bid and see how it comes out, because there's people that'll pick up trash a lot cheaper than one company, and there's people that'll pick up recycling a lot cheaper than one company because they have a source to sell that recycle.
Gotcha.
So what it could be is trash pickup on Tuesday, 3 and 4 wards, and on Thursday, 2 and 3 wards, and just flip flop them and have recycle opposite those days. It might be the same vendor. It may not be the same vendor, but if you don't mind having 2 different vendors in town, one to do recycle and one to do trash, we can break it out that way. And again, I'm just, anybody got an opinion on that, throw it out there. But to build the RFP, it has to be specific as to what we're looking for them to provide for us. But if you're indifferent to it, I would think bid it separately, and we might save a lot of money.
I'd say we look at both ways and see.
Let them bid it both ways.
Yeah, let them bid it
All
both
right.
ways.
We could do that too. All right, good.
I found the charter lawsuit. I emailed it to you guys.
Thank you.
For overpaid business taxes. And from that court report that I just emailed, it says that Normandy was supposed to get, I think, $79,000. So this was in January of this year.
Yeah, I heard they were fighting that though.
I don't know what became of it.
Yeah, I'd seen that back in January, but they were fighting it. Charter was fighting it.
So if you've got any specific questions, now's the time. I've got one on page 1. Line 10-4420A. It's police operating SRO. That's the contract with the school district. And we had $70,000 from, now, the 2021 budget, those are actuals now. Is that correct?
No, that's the budget.
For
The
2021?
year's not over.
Oh, the year's
And then
not
we're
over, so you
kinda-
could,
I'm kind of estimating. based on
right.
what we learned.
So that's gonna be close though.
You think it's gonna be 70?
Where did you get the 60,000? That's $10,000
I was
less.
just looking at, I'm estimating, based on what you've gotten, and maybe payments are behind with the SRO. It looked like
Okay.
You were gonna get to 50.
It's probably because of payments behind, because we bumped that contract.
Okay.
So you can
So I would
put that
increase to
10K
70.
back in the budget. They turned out to be, the school district didn't pay us on time, and that's what skewed that number.
I'm estimating your court fines to be low, and I did bump it up to at least 230. But I mean, we had originally budgeted 325,000 for court fines.
And that's from 2 years ago of 800,000. So
No, 2 years ago, it wasn't 800,000, but we were at least 300,000. It's just really dropped. It was about 5 years ago.
5 years ago where it was, okay. Any additional questions or input? We'll
I
take
had
our
a question
time.
about page 2. 10-510.
Yes,
So dues and subscriptions for administration.
I would, Angela can pull those numbers up. Are those available? I would.
I was just wondering about the budgeted amount was 1,000 and then the proposal was 14,000.
Well, that's because I was looking at your actual year to date and it's up to 12, but there's some fees in here that are for accounting services that need to be moved. So that number should be a lot less. Now that I'm looking at the actual numbers, I can see it. So we'll have to make a correction on your actual, and then that would reduce that budget number. But I'd have to look at your accounting fees and legal fees to make sure those are reasonable.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How much money is left in that cell tower fund?
Last I looked, it was 775,000. It's not making much interest at all. There's been no money come out of that fund.
Okay.
But what I'm
Would it-
asking, go ahead.
would
go
it-
ahead.
Would it be wise to take that money to our lender to lower our interest on principal and get them to waive a few months of payment?
Are you talking about pay in advance? I'm not. Someone help me.
You're
So
gonna
you mean,
pay-
I don't know.
You're gonna pay interest on the unpaid, on the balance, on the unpaid balance. So if we brought that,
We lost you for a minute there. We lost you for a minute.
That's
Hello?
to reduce the payment of,
Yeah,
You
we
said
lost you.
Take it to
Right.
pay down the principal?
So,
Yeah.
but what we'd have to do is renegotiate that loan.
I think he's saying pay down the principal,
yes,
not refinance, just pay down the principal.
pay down.
I can talk to Sharon at the bank about that and see what it would do for us.
You're breaking up, Councilman Moss. We can't hear you very well.
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden, I can't hear anybody.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's at your end. I can look into that. That's certainly worth taking a look at. I still think it's the only way to get through this, though. I'd like to get automatic payments come out of, oh, he can't hear.
You can't hear us.
So for those of you that are still have audio,
And you call in? Oh, I think he's gone. He's gonna try to get back on maybe.
okay. But the way this budget is prepared is for the $6,000 or 50, what are they, $5,600 payments?
$5,000 a year, I think is what.
Yeah, to get those payments out of that fund. I don't think we can manage without doing that. So you guys, when that cell tower was sold, that was set up as a restricted fund and it requires a vote of the council
Yes, it was.
to spend that money.
Yeah, but the money, cell tower was sold, purchase bill.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
So
what
I
I'm
mean, it's a
saying.
legitimate use for the
Exactly.
money,
Exactly.
but I can't do anything with it without a vote of the council. What I'd like to hear tonight is a motion to make those payments come out of that cell tower fund. That doesn't mean we can't use a large portion of it to pay it down and reduce interest payments. It won't do anything for us this year except increase our equity. The payments are still going to be the same. You'll just be building more equity faster, so it won't reduce payments. But if I could have a motion to do that, that's the way this budget is built. And if you're in agreement to do that, make a motion to authorize me to make automatic withdrawals.
So we're gonna contact the bank first to see if we can pay some of that.
Well, it won't have anything to do with this. We can do both. Even if we pay it down, it's not going to reduce the payment amount. All it means that more of the payment amount will be applied to principal, less of it to interest, but you're still going to be making the same payment amount. It won't help our budget. It'll help build equity faster, but
It's not
we,
gonna.
Well, that's what the sale of the cell tower was for the new building, so.
so what's your liking on that, folks?
I say take the cell tower money, yeah, have it taken out and then see what happens if we could pay down the principal with it.
I
know
can set it up for automatic withdrawal
Yeah.
and there'll never be another late payment and it'll be, I think it's a good idea.
then inquire about a lump sum payment later.
Okay. But I need a motion and a second and a vote to do that.
Oh, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We got a motion to authorize the,
Can I ask one question?
sure.
Automatic withdrawals.
We got a motion and a second. Now we can have a discussion about it.
How many late payments have we had in the past?
We had,
Because we purchased the building back in what, December?
I'd have to look, but I believe that's correct.
I think we
And
got
there was initially 6 late payments.
6 late payments.
And the one that was just made that I walked down there again
Right,
was late.
that was late.
Yep.
So we've made a late payment every month on this building.
No, the 3 before that were on time.
Okay.
I mean, one, let's see, March, April. May was late. June, July, May, June, July were on time, but previous to that, they were late. I have to pull the statement, but there were quite a few $250 late fees. We did not have the $250 late fee this time, but it was made late. In fact, I had 5 payments I had to make to stop interruption of services again. We've been having issues with bookkeeping. So anyway, that's for a different conversation.
How close are we on the sale of the Sinclair station? Because that funds plus the cell tower fund would put us at 900,000.
We're not close to the sale on that. And I really, again, I want to move, if I can move forward with your permission to do it, I want to get an appraisal on that building.
I've asked for an appraisal from the realtor
Yeah, I know. He said he had one, but it's never.
3
been
times
produced.
and I
That's
have
why we
not,
haven't- That's
I
why
have not
again, I wanna-
received anything.
Yeah, I want to
That
move
is not
forward.
true. That is not true. He communicated with me often. He said he left you
I
emails
said, no, I
and you
have
had not
asked him
responded
3
back
times.
to him. Yeah, he said he left you emails. You did not respond. I
Yes,
told him
ma'am,
I
I
gave
haven't
him
gotten it.
your personal one. I gave him your purse one. I also gave him your city of Normandy. And I ended up following up with him just to make sure that he
But
had
do
got
you
the
have it?
information.
So
And
you
he
can,
said yes.
do you have it and then you can send it to all of us?
No, he did not have an appraisal. There was no appraisal done based on how it was being sold. So that's why I wanted you
So
to have
there
a
is no appraisal.
conversation
Okay.
specifically with him.
Well, without
But
objection, I'll
he
move
stated
forward.
that nobody reached out. Nobody called. Well, I'm sorry. He said, Beckman, you did call him yelling and screaming at him. But
Well,
as
I
far as
did
Yolanda,
not
he had
yell
not
and
heard from
scream.
you.
Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
I emailed him several times. I did not get a response. I called him from work, from my work desk number, and I called him from my cell phone and no response. So that's
Well,
not,
because I know this gentleman is
true.
a professional, I
and
doubt
I'm a
that. But
professional
let's keep
also, so
moving.
that's not
Let's
true.
keep
There's-
moving.
there's no
Let's
point.
keep
There's no point.
moving. Let's
Yeah,
keep
let's move
moving.
on.
That's
Yeah,
not true.
Let's move
Let's move
on. I will,
Yeah,
I
let's
will
keep
try to
moving.
get hold of him.
Yeah, to answer
I
your
would-
question,
Hey,
Walter,
hey,
without,
guys, can we
without,
move on?
without objection, I'll move forward and get an appraisal on this property. If there's no objection, I'll do that and we'll have it and get an idea what this place is worth. And then get it on the market.
Can we do the vote on the automatic withdrawal first?
Yep, we've got, Campbell made the first, Evans made a second to authorize automatic withdrawal from the cell tower fund to make the payments on the new building across the street. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have. Who was that, please?
Maurice Hunt.
All right, we've got, two yays, one nay, the rest abstain. The ayes have it. We'll make that happen. All right, still, any additional
You
questions
have
on the
to have
budget?
a majority. You have to have a.
I
Can
had
we,
another question.
with the appraisal, do we need to vote on having the appraisal for the Sinclair station, or
I don't know the answer to that question.
can we just, can you just,
Mayor Beckman,
Yes, sir.
2-1 is not a majority.
Yes, 2-1 is a majority, sir. If the rest abstain, we have a quorum. We had
But
2
it's not a
abstentions,
majority.
2 yays and a nay.
But it's not a majority. In order for
Okay.
the council to give you permission to use a cell site, it has to be a majority of more than 6. Not
I
2.
understand your position, sir. I just don't happen to agree with it, and we'll get some counsel as to whether this was a illegal vote or not.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think that wasn't the plan when we had a meeting a couple of months back, wasn't the plan always, when you guys bought the cell phone tower or sold it, to use that money? Wasn't that so I don't understand why use.
That's why the other one.
Well, two people that was not here when the original plan was set up with the council that is here and the Steve Garrett. Loan was set up for us to use the cell site money to pay off the loan. Also, the St. Clair gas station money, the 100 and some thousand was going to be used to pay off the cell site. Pay off the Austin Lane. If you guys did not take time to look, and Steve Garrett explained, and Steve Garrett do have the paperwork, we have to pay off the loan immediately because the simple fact is the collateral that they're using for the loan is the property that's Austin Lane and the property of the city hall. Both properties are tied up in the loan. So it would be great practice to go ahead and take the money that we already allocated for it and use all that money to get that loan down as low as possible, and then look at an option of paying it off or refinancing it for whatever the remaining amount is. But right now, new city hall and the old city hall is the collateral on that building.
Yeah.
So you're saying that there's a balloon payment?
That was addressed, and we're going to do that. We're going to look into paying this down and but it won't lower the payments for this year. It won't help this year's budget.
But in the interest of our credit score and anyone who has anything with a loan, it's in our best interest to pay our bills on time. So paying our bills on time and having it come out automatic withdrawal is really at this point the best thing, since we've already had so many late payments on this building since we bought it. That's not going to help our credit rating when we ask for a refinance.
I've got another question on page 12, 70-890. Is that the reason there's no capital improvement budget here? I'm confused by that. Our capital equipment. Capital equipment, capital improvement. What?
You all haven't told me about any capital equipment you plan to buy.
Okay.
So it's not.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. I know we've got an air conditioner that's going to need to be replaced. I can tell you that. I can imagine about 12 grand there. If that and another one goes out, we've got old equipment here. You know, hopefully we'll be able to make some kind of deal before that all happens.
Well, if you've got capital items and you're going to make those loan payments like we just talked about, then
That'll pull $65,000.
you could maybe budget it in the capital improvement fund
Okay,
to spend some of that money, but not all of it.
right. Okay. So just,
Wait, page 12, so when you were talking about, that's the sanitation fund.
okay, let me go to page 12.
That number, I got confused. That number you were asking when there was nothing budgeted, that's the sanitation fund. So that would be any equipment for the sanitation.
Oh, sanitation.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. I got you.
So, like I said. you
The
had
sanitation
about,
fees?
The sanitation fund, any capital equipment that you might plan to purchase, but you were talking about going a different route, so
All right.
we'd have to just amend the budget if you decided you needed something.
Okay. Now, something else I want to talk to you guys about. We've got postings for a new Public Works Director. I think it'll take some time to make that happen. Brandon right now is running the crew down there. I think it would be a good gesture to give him a temporary, I told him I'd bring this to you, a temporary raise to give him some incentive to manage and keep this crew working and motivated until a Public Works Director is appointed and approved. I'd like to hear back from you on that.
Isn't that a closed meeting issue?
We
Because
don't
it's
have to,
salary.
we don't have to, we can if you choose to do so. But we could go into closed session on that if you thought that would be appropriate, but it doesn't have to be.
I'm not
and-
opposed
and-
to anything. I just feel like it's
It
a
needs to
closed
be a closed
session, that's
meeting,
all.
and we need to all talk to Brandon to see do Brandon has the qualifications to run that crew.
This is just temporary.
Well, this is just
This is
temporary.
just
This is for like
temporary,
a
right?
couple of weeks. A couple of weeks
No.
just to give somebody I've got to work with somebody that we currently have.
I think it would be okay as an
He's
incentive.
already the supervisor down there. There's no need to give him extra money unless he's going to do more duties. If he's going to assume the duties of the city, the director that's vacant position, if he's going to assume some of those duties, then we need to have, the council need to sit down and talk to him, and then we need to tap in a closed session. Not temporary. We need to know what direction the city is going and what's really wrong and what's the morale down there at the city of Public Works. That's my opinion.
This
Thank
would
you.
not be us, just so we're clear, this would not be us hiring Brandon as the
No, I have no
Public
intention of
Works
doing that.
Director.
No, he
Okay.
doesn't. he's
This
not
would be a
qualified for that.
temporary
Right,
increase,
it's a temporary, hey, thank you for keeping the crew together and keeping
and
things
he would
running.
temporarily take on the duties of the
Yeah,
Public Works Director.
somebody is managing that department now. It has to be somebody assume those duties.
I don't see
And I thought
anything wrong with it as long as it's a temporary thing.
Gave him a
And everyone
temporary and
completely understands he is not the new.
No.
Works Director.
And I made it very clear to him, I'd bring this to you, but whatever we did would be strictly temporary pending the appointment and approval of a new Public Works Director.
I have a response to that.
Yes,
I think it should be in a closed session, And whenever you are offering some temporary position, I think that it needs to be clear. It needs to be signed by the person that's going to take it and signed by the person that's giving it. There
I
has
agree.
problems before with putting people in temporary positions when they thought it was permanent. So I suggest that it go to a closed session. It be discussed there further.
All righty. Anybody else? I mean, you can make that motion now, Irma, if you, let's get through the budget and table
Yeah,
this
'cause I don't-
right now. And then if you want to make a motion to go into closed session, we can do it when we're done with the budget. Anything else we need to address? I think where we're at is take the money we saved by eliminating one court clerk position, the assistant to the city administrator position, and spread those out as equitably as we can, and not to management or upper level. It's all going to go to the entry level positions. Sound good?
Yes.
Does anybody have any other questions for Angela on this draft that's in front of you now?
Oh, I had a question. The CARES Act grant revenue on the line 10420C.
What page? Oh, first page.
Page
Got it.
1,
Yes,
that $350,000.
yes.
Hey,
What was that? That's for this year's budget? Right? This is
Boy, I didn't even catch that. We don't know that there's any CARES Act money for 20.
is this,
This was this year's budget. You had gotten about 172,000 of it already. There's some miscellaneous items in there as well, but, so, and then the second payment, you just, got it, right, Mark? Because you
Yeah,
filled
well,
out the rest of that,
Right.
able to
We
get
got
back
that
on the
about
stand.
30 days ago. We got
right,
that money.
and that was another 170,000.
Right.
So that's about the 350 that's in that line.
and that
item.
goes into our general fund?
Yes.
And do we have to account for that separately? Because I know with,
We already have. We had to prove that you were spent, that was being spent on salaries, and we sent that to, what's her name, Catherine?
Kathy, and I can't think of her last name.
Kathy at St. Louis County?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
and she was needing it for the audit that was being done by Deloitte, I believe. So that took some time, and then your enrollment in the SAM grant program had expired. And so you all worked with them and got that reinstated. And so you got your second payment.
But I'm a little confused that there's budgeted for 2022 another.
There's nothing budgeted.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's where I would have put the extra money, but I agree with you that you should wait to see how you can spend it.
Okay.
before we Put that in there.
Good. Anybody else? I think we have to crunch some numbers and spread that savings out and try to get some raises for the public works and, okay.
Then you're gonna, after you do.
We'll submit another draft and hopefully we can get a final approval. But we'll crunch some numbers and see how that plays
Had
out.
one more, I'm sorry, I forgot about this one. Will there be any park grant funds this year or coming up in the near future?
I am not aware of your city having applied for any park grants. I mean, a couple of years ago, I think there was something being discussed, but Rodney passed and. I'm not
Well,
sure
we're
what
kind
happened
of
to
stuck
that.
on that. We,
Well, wasn't that Pasadena Hills?
Pasadena Hills got that
They
money,
they got that
and we're committed on the next round for that same project. So
So those funds are gone.
those funds are gone.
Which is a shame.
We are not committed for 2022 for that Parks grant.
Well,
We was only
I-
committed for the first phase. not any other phases.
If you-
Hasn't.
Yeah, but
voted on.
they very seldom give it to you back to back.
If you, well,
It
let me,
doesn't happen like
I can
that.
address, if you don't finish the project, you're not gonna ever get another grant. And it was made clear, I was sitting on the board at that time, that we could apply
But
for
you're
this.
gonna have to, you're gonna have to
But-
take that to the council because the council only approved the first phase. The council did not approve.
Well, that's
the-
fine. We
the
can take it to
second
the
phase.
council, but that doesn't force them to give us. any
Check
more
is gonna
grant
go
money.
to,
Un-
the
until
check is
this
gonna go to
project-
Pasadena, right?
Yeah, until this project is complete, we're not gonna get another grant. We're committed
That's,
to.
that's not what the, we had the,
Hang on a minute, Maurice. I think Tony's talking now.
Had they started on the project down?
Yeah, they got phase one done, which was demolition of the existing building and some preliminary infrastructure work done. Go ahead, Maurice. Councilman Hunter, are you there?
yes, I'm still here.
Yeah,
And
go
like I
ahead.
said, I
Go ahead.
sat in a meeting and the council and the city administrator at that time and Steve Garrett, we all sat down with Pasadena and told them that because Patrick Green signed that agreement, that the city of Normandy is only going to do the first phase. And then then we asked for a land survey, and we found out on the land survey that the city of Normandy owns majority of the property, and Pasadena Hills only owns 7 to 10% of the property. So the council and the parks department, our parks committee, put a hold on that, and we're not going to do the second phase unless you involve the parks committee and the council, because we could not get out of the agreement from Patrick Green. And the
Well,
council.
we're
is
yeah,
aware of that.
and we're off. We're getting in the weeds, off topic here. The bottom line is we don't have any money this year that we've applied for a grant, and
Do we have anyone to write the grants? Because the MDC grant is due at the end of the week.
yeah, I saw that $75,000, and that's not been applied for. I was under the impression that there was somebody working on that, but that didn't happen. The Parks Grant Commission has made that application pretty easy because they put it online and it's fill in the blanks, and they've got a tutorial that you attend in person. And it's a good program. They make it easy to do. So if someone had the time.
Is that something that one of us could do?
One of the council could assume that if we had a project in mind, yes.
I'd be willing to do that.
Well, the July 31st, this year's has expired. All that
Yeah.
means is we'll be entitled to more money next year. But I'm telling you, we're gonna have a log jam with trying to do a project other than what we started. But again, we're off topic. It's not money that we're gonna spend this year. So,
I'll look into it.
thank you. All right, I think, Angela, I think we're done. And there's a couple of them wanted to go into a closed session. So, and I've got this meeting up on my iPad and I've got to kick everybody off of it. So, well, we'll take a vote. Let's see.
Okay, so I will talk to you tomorrow about
Yes.
changes.
Yep.
And then you guys can have another copy. I'm out of town next week, but I'm not sure you really need me here.
Nope, as long as we get together before October 1 and pass this budget.
Right, so when I get back, it's that Monday is like the 27th. So if you want to do it then, that week, I'll be here, but I won't be here next week.
I'll send out an email and see when people are available. Thank you.
See you, Angela.
All right, folks. Well, let's take a vote first to see if we want to go into closed session. Does somebody want to make a motion? Lacking a motion for a closed session, I'll ask for a, well, we really haven't addressed or gotten a resolution to that question I asked. I mean, if I'm going to tell him that, no, we're not doing it, then that's the answer. I just want to make sure that the majority of the council is opined on how to handle public works.
I I am fine with the temporary. I think that I'm fine with it.
Councilman Moss, any opinion on that?
I just have a problem with temporary appointments of people that are already in our employment. Not that I'm against it, but I think since it's only 2 weeks, maybe
Right,
3.
that's fine. I won't beat it to death.
Well, listen, I think that if we put him on say like, at the end of these 2 weeks, we're gonna give you a bonus for doing that.
I like that.
So he has to work towards this bonus. And I don't know what you want to offer him, but put it in as a bonus and not a salary increase.
Well, I'll bring that to him. Say, let's see what you can do. And
Like
the
a
council will
bonus or a
consider-
stipend, yeah.
So
maybe.
Council
why
will
does it have
consider-
to be? Why does it have to be just 2 weeks? I mean,
Well,
because
I
my
think
thing is
council-
this: wouldn't he have to train? Wouldn't he have to train whoever the new person is coming
No.
in? Who's going to train that
you
individual?
hire a professional, they won't need to be trained. That's
A professional. I hope we would get somebody who would come in, feet running.
Everybody needs to be trained. There's
but-
no ifs and buts about it.
But he's got employees down there that are already doing the job, and all he has to do is supervise them and ask them what they're doing and how this works. So I don't think we need to train this guy or find somebody that needs to be trained. We're already doing those functions. So that's my opinion.
I like Councilman Moss's idea of a bonus. I like that better.
all right. Let's see what he can do. If he wows us, then we'll consider that.
So should we consider the bonus amount? How much are we willing to offer? What is the bonus amount?
Well, based on the conversation I just
2
heard, it
weeks.
would depend on how he performs. I don't know. If you've got something, I'd be. And how long he's in the
At least-
position too. We haven't hired anybody yet. So it depends on how long we go without a public works director.
Well,
There's
if
just a
he's
lot of-
assuming
A lot of unknowns.
if he's assuming the position and actually doing more than what he was doing right now in his role as supervisor, then I would say at least 1,000 to 1,500, if not more. Because my thing is this: there's no guarantee that we're going to actually get someone. I mean, we may get someone in 2 weeks. That's perfectly fine. However, we're asking him to do more than what he was probably already doing. So we have to make it worth his while,
Can we break
especially
it
if we
up
wanted
into
him to motivate those others.
Can we break it up into a weekly bonus?
We can talk about money.
It's not a closed
Well,
session,
well-
but we still got people sitting.
Okay. Oh,
Yolanda, I like that. A weekly
let's-
bonus.
let's-
Break it up
let's
into weeks.
Right,
I like-
let's address this after the fact. Let's go
Okay.
ahead and have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So move.
Yeah.
We got a motion to
I
adjourn.
second.
I didn't hear the second. Who is it?
I second.
Councilwoman Smith.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Bye now.